What is up, everybody? It is Thursday night. Kick your shoes off, grab something cold or warm to drink. We're chatting fishing. So, welcome to Dock Talk. Welcome back, everybody, far and wide. Some of us just wide. Got our esteemed panel for the night. We'll go around the room, let you guys reintroduce yourself to those who may not have watched the Dock Talk before. So we'll start with Mr. Russell in the top corner there. And tell us about yourself, where you hail from, and what kind of boat you're fishing in.
All right, so Russell Johnson here. I am about an hour south of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a little town called Witsit on a river called the Youghiogheny. Instagram handle Yough Bassin, Youghbassin. It's all about the river I grew up on. I am in a few boats for Jackson this year. Most recent is the NAR, and I'll be in a Coosa X. I am a river guy. So the Coosa X is going to be my target boat this year. And then my big water boat and my everyday big tournament boat is going to be the NAR.
Very nice. Matt Ball, what you got going on?
Hey, Matt Ball. I'm from Little Hocking, Ohio. I'm about a little less than 2 hours southwest of my buddy Russell there. And I'm on the Ohio River, which is not nearly as exciting as the Youghiogheny River, but I'm fishing this year again. All my tournament, most of my tournaments will be taken out of the NAR with a torpedo power, and I'm also going to be using that new Coosa X as much as anywhere I can. So. Looking forward to putting some time in that boat here as soon as the weather breaks. So,
yep, for sure. Now, here's the big question: new year, new boats. What color you guys get this year?
Well, I've got the yellow jacket coming in the X. So, and I didn't do a new boat this year for it takes so long to get my tournament boat set and ready that and there's no need. So that NAR is laid out just like I like it. So,
and that Aurora color is a pretty color.
Yeah,
so. I like that color.
So,
you, Russell?
My NAR is going to be Tiger Shark, and my Coosa X is still up in the air. We're frozen up here, so really haven't gave that too much thought. That boat's going to be a throw and go boat for me, so it's not going to be a lot of rigging. My NAR set up exactly the way I need it. I'm super comfortable in it, so there's no reason for me to change anything. Jackson has been doing a little inline changes with the boat, adding stiffeners for the floor, so there's nothing that I need to, since I have last year's boat, we just added the floor stiffeners, and it's just like 2023 is coming off the line.
Yep. And I'm going double ply, so I'll be double blue. Happy about that. Back in blue. Got rid of that whole red boat thing. I'm not a fan of Team Red Boat. I was on it for a little bit. Wasn't my jam. Me and the red boat did not get along. So everybody, I mean, what's on the docket for you guys? I mean, tournament season's getting ready to start for a lot of people. Everybody floods down south this time of year, as a lot of people know, and it's the kickoff for many things. So what are you guys looking at to kick this year off, kind of like where you're going to be fishing and what you're going to be doing?
I'm going to go back to running and gunning. My business is taking a lot of my time, so I really haven't currently made a schedule. There's things on there that are bucket list fisheries that I want to go to. And I'm going to attack those as if I got the weekend or a couple days to shoot down and go. Knowing the boats are rigged, it's going down and just getting on the water. So I haven't made a schedule, but I'm also going to take time to start fishing with some other local guys and bringing the friendship back close to smaller tournaments.
Very good. Very good. How about you, Matt Ball?
Yeah, I'm going to be kicking it off. My first event will be the Hobie Harris Chain in Florida, third week of February, I think. I had planned to head to Florida this coming weekend, but just all the different things I've got out there this year, I decided to. It just wasn't working out. I needed to take this weekend to keep getting ready. It's been a crazy, but I've got quite a few events. I'm going to fish right now. I'm going to fish probably 4, maybe 5 of the Hobie events, about 3 of the Bassmaster events. I'm also fishing the Classic down in at Chick, and going to hit all the KBF events that I can in between. So that's my plan. And then I'm a big part of, supporting Mountain State kayak anglers, West Virginia kayak anglers, Southern West Virginia kayak anglers. All 3 of those West Virginia clubs have been something that I've really enjoyed, and over the last few years, ever since I started. So it is truly the most fun, overall fun that I have throughout the years fishing the local events. So, and they've got some good schedules. The 3 clubs in West Virginia, you can pretty much fish a tournament any weekend you want now. So, and they're all run very well. Hats off to the guys that are running all 3 of the clubs now. They work together really well, and I'm really proud of how they've kind of gotten together and they're still their own thing, but they work together and they don't step on each other, and they support each other. It's awesome. It really is.
Right. Now, Russell brought up something pretty good today, and I'm going to kind of spin this way just a little bit. We've been cooped up all winter, all 3 of us, and many people around the country as fishermen. Deer season's over. We've had Christmas. We're in dead middle of January. It's cold. We're tired of being cold.
Yeah.
But we really look forward, I think, once boat show season and those first tournaments of the year start rolling around. It's all about getting out and seeing your buddies.
Oh, yeah.
When we talk about kayak fishing, I think, and Matt, I know you do a lot of fellowship with the different anglers as you travel around, and Russell, same with you. You've got a lot of different things going on. What does that mean? Let's rephrase that. What does it mean, the friendships that have come from the sport of kayak fishing? I mean, how has that impacted your guys' life?
I'll let you start.
Okay, I will start. First of all, the guy in the upper right-hand corner here, the fact that he is one of my dear friends, a brother, and someone that I lean on for just about anything. I know I can call him. That friendship, him and I would not probably even know each other if it hadn't been for this sport. And Russell and I have traveled across the country together, and we met doing this on the local scene. I consider him a true friend that forever. So that's the kind of thing that you find in this. I mean, if I look around the country, I can probably name someone that I consider a dear friend in just about any state you want to name right now through this sport. Now that's the national side of it. But like I was talking with Russell, I've got dear friends in the state that are literally close to home. I travel with them, and me and Russell have traveled a lot together. We love to travel together when we have time, but we're both busy with families, and a lot of times that doesn't work out. But some of my most fond travel memories have been with someone like Russell. and we do pretty darn good when we fish tournaments together. You get us together and to break down some water, we do pretty good. So,
well, and you're well fed too if you're hanging out with Russell.
Yes. I'll tell you what, I say that, but this is something that people don't realize. We hardly even take time to eat when we're traveling. I mean, that's a fact. I mean,
Oh yeah,
we eat, but it is just like you go into another gear, and it's not like you're making yourself miserable. It's just you're driven to figure, what little time you have to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't take that time, and then when you finally get off the water or it's dark, you're literally rigging stuff and ready to go to bed so you can get up early the next day and build on what you figured out the day before, especially pre-fishing and then tournament. We usually sneak in a few good meals here and there, though.
Absolutely. So for me, I love to travel. I love meeting people. I mean, that goes right in hand with my job and being in a restaurant business, being in, a customer service based thing. But like with Matt, there's been a few guys that I've traveled with, and me and Matt travel a lot. We've been broke down on the side of the highway, changing out alternators together. We've been a little bit of everywhere. We've been confused together, probably seen each other tear up over moments in our life.
Yep.
And, to hear Matt, both of, he's got some weddings coming up. Those are monumental things that I kind of look up for him, because he's a little bit further with his family than I am with mine. I got 2 little girls, and he's got 1 girl and some boys that are leaving the house, and I can't fathom that yet. But I know there's somebody that is going to guide me in the right direction in my thoughts and stuff like that. And Matt is definitely on the fellowship of whatever I need to talk about, whatever I need to lean in and do. Hold on, somebody wants to say hi.
Hey.
Whatever somebody wants to talk about, good, bad, or indifferent. You meet those people that we depend on. I might not have seen Matt in the last 6 months, but I know when I see him, I'm going to tell him to his face, I love you. And I want to give him a hug, because we've built that bond that these little plastic boats will never change. That's what brought us together. And I sent you a picture about one of the first times that I seen Matt. And since then, he laughs.
I know what picture this is.
What I couldn't get over was how young you guys looked.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
It was a while ago.
But that was, what they call the mud hole down there in West Virginia. That's where so many friendships that started on the banks of, whether it be a lake, a river, the ocean, a creek, that are unbreakable, because we have that general thing that brings us together. And it often takes us further than fishing. And that's what it's done with me and a whole bunch of guys. There's people I consider friends, and there's people I consider family. And, Matt fits that family category for me.
Absolutely. So when we talk about, Matt talked about the local level just a little bit here, what are some of the things, Russell? I know you're talking, with the restaurant and everything, you're going to be fishing a lot more local stuff, running and gunning, and Matt, you'll be doing the same with the usual clubs that you like to fish with. What are some of the things that you, from your experience in travels, that you're able to take back to these guys that are, fishing at the local level, having a good time? How do you continue to build that environment with the experience that you guys have had over these years?
So with that, I think you can travel and still fish at a local level. So I fished, the clubs Matt mentioned down in West Virginia, but traveling from Pennsylvania. So I fished a full year of the Mountain State Kayak Anglers, and it was support, because it was travel. Every event was 3+, 4+ hours from me. Nights in a van, nights in a car, people lending couches, or wherever else, sharing campgrounds, or here's the little hideaway spot next to the lake to sleep in. So to tell people, some of the events are getting expensive because the sport's growing and making it more elite on certain ends. But to travel, there's nothing wrong with reaching out to somebody fishes in Ohio and you want to go travel and fish Ohio. You can still fish at grassroots, very basic, very personal events. But once you take a chance on one of these bigger events, it's the same thing, just a little bit higher stake, which are just not financially capable for some people.
Yeah, that's very good. Gene asked to see the picture. So I'm gonna pause your thoughts for just a second, Matt. I'm gonna throw the picture up here. Here we go. Slides. You have no slides. Add from your computer. Upload files. I wasn't ready. This is like the first time that I've tried to pull this off here. Let's see. Upload. We're just gonna present, share screen.
I'm pretty sure my dad took this picture. Is that correct?
It was either your dad or Coy, and I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. There you go, Miss Jean. That is the photo.
You got to zoom in to look at the look of disgust on my face after I just fished that bank.
You gotta love that kind of stuff. So like, there's the photo really, for all you guys watching live.
Where we took out. You just caught that right where we're taking out.
All right. Now that we've interrupted your train of thoughts, Matt, back to it.
No, that's a good memory, and there has been honestly back to. I'll talk about that event in that lake, but I'm pretty sure that was the event right after I won the national championship. And that was my first event after I came back from the national championship. And that one will always be a really fond memory. One, Russell won it. And then two, my home club absolutely surprised me with a really great shindig. Just really, it had my family down. One of those things I'll never forget. So there's a lot of really cool memories anytime I go to that lake and see that picture. So that was, I think that was pre-fishing though.
That was pre-fishing. That was the day before the tournament. Then, I got a few more like at the next day.
Yeah, you did. But no, back to the thing I say about the local events. I would never, ever in a million years consider the local events subpar in competition to a national event. And I say that especially there may not be the numbers. Now, when Russell and I started out in West Virginia, we had more numbers at some of our local events than what we were way more people at our local events than we ever had at the national events. But hands down, some of the best anglers that you're ever going to come against are going to be the local guys. They don't have the time that we do to travel, but that doesn't mean they're not absolute hammers. And it's a good thing. There's a lot of locals, the people that are out there fishing these national tours are really lucky that a lot of the locals that I know of from West Virginia aren't out there doing it, or else we'd be not winning very many things. There'd be a lot less checks getting cashed from. There's some absolute sticks, and I think that's in every state. But one thing that Russell and I both have kind of, and I'm proud to say, I think that fishing where we grew up and in the waters that we have grown up in has made us succeed in the national scene for one reason. And I think that is we have some amazing fisheries, but we're used to really tough days on the water. We're used to having to grind it out, to figure it out. We're used to crowded water. We're used to, crowded boat ramps, crowded everything. because when we have our events, our bodies of water are so small. We go to these national events, it's like you have a lake to yourself a lot of times. So don't get me wrong, absolute incredible competition, and it gets better and better and better every year on the national scene. But the locals, I've won less local events than I have national events overall my life. I mean, I've done better on the national events than I have some of the local stuff, so just because it's tough.
I think some of that being said, Matt, is like when I go to Lake Chickamauga, I can go to YouTube and type in Lake Chickamauga and find out information. The waters we have readily available to us, you can't find the Youghiogheny River, the Allegheny River, or even much information about the Susquehanna River, because we don't have those big body, big boat tournaments. The information's not there. Like, you have to have a jet boat to get on the Susquehanna. The biggest water I fish is Lake Erie, but most of those tournaments are going to be held in New York or out in Ohio, St. Clair and stuff like that. It kind of plays the same, but I think where we excel is knowing that we have to search because there was no information given. So when we get some information, our search is still the same, and we can add on the information that we find out about, the lakes that have that material available to us. But it totally transformed me from a different angler, going to these bigger lakes that have all the information, but still grinding my own way.
I'm gonna ask Russell a question.
Ask
I think
away.
I'm gonna know the answer. What's your least favorite national lake that you've ever traveled to fish?
Anything within the dams of the Tennessee River. I hate it.
That's
absolutely.
What was the
insulted half the bass fishing world?
No, and here's the thing. I spent probably my most miserable event, not because of who I was with, but on a body of water that he literally told me. He said, "I don't know why I'm going here because I hate this lake." And
Gunnersville.
that is the only time in my career. Let me think if I'm lying. I don't think I am. I think it's the only time in my entire fishing tournament career that I did not stay the entire event. We had such a bad first day. My truck broke down the day before the tournament.
Oh man!
The fan clutch locked up. It sounded like I was driving a freight train the whole time, and I think we literally caught one fish, and we was like, "Let's go home." We were both homesick and ready to go home.
I just could not figure anything out. Like, if I would have caught some 12-inch fish, I would have been happy. But everything was going wrong. Like, I don't even look at Gunnersville on a lake. I really went there because of the fellowship with Matt. Like, congratulations there, Trey.
Yeah, congratulations, Trey. Happy to hear it.
But I went there for the fellowship and possibly changing my mind, but it just solidified my hate for that lake.
Yeah. So here, I'm gonna add to this question. I have this place. Is there a place that, like, if you won, you're never going back? It's like, that is it. I've won here. I'm never going back.
I can't say that.
That's are you? I don't know if you were breaking up or if I'm breaking up, but I didn't hear that question.
So is there a body of water, local or national? Mine's local. But if you won on this body of water, you would just say, it's been my Achilles heel. I've won. I ain't going back.
No, not really. I'll be honest with you. I say it every time I get done, but I mean, everybody will think I'm crazy when I say this, but I started my career by winning the national championship on Kentucky Lake. But I will tell you, it's probably one of my least favorite lakes to fish in a kayak tournament for one reason is you literally have to drive thousands of miles to fish that lake in a kayak, and nothing is close. You spend hours and hours and hours to get around that lake to get to you almost. It's crazy the amount of driving you have to do to break down that lake in a kayak. Now you can kind of pick a section and hit a bunch of stuff in that, but if you really want to go from, the Kentucky side to down to the bottom side, and you want to spend you need a lot of time. You've got to pretty much get in your mind when you go there, I'm going to either focus on this or this and stick with it, or you will not. Well, I don't know how many miles I put on my truck each time I fish that lake. It's horrible. Now, I've done well on that lake, but I hate the logistics of fishing that lake. That's my least favorite lake to fish.
It's even long though, I think, when you're in a big boat. I mean, you can burn up an hour on a run real fast on Kentucky Lake Barkley.
Now, I mean, I've already signed up for, and I will fish the next one that I got on the tournament there, because I always fish them there. But man, it's tough driving around that place.
It's a big
and there's no good road. You're driving back roads, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's a good road across the dams, but that's pretty much where it stops. And pretty much after Benton, it's on the Kentucky Lake side. It gets pretty wild. So we got comments coming in, and big shout out to all you guys that are out there commenting. These guys appreciate that. We all appreciate that. Seeing you guys in the comments, it means a lot to all of us as we play along with this thing. So new tournament trail. We have the USA Bass and Jackson Kayak Trail, which is going to be new this year. It's kind of a local national type thing where you're going to fish 5 tournaments local, qualify with 250 points, and then have a chance to move on to a national championship and compete against all other states that have signed up for this thing. It's growing pretty fast. I haven't shared the amount of tournaments that have locked up with this thing with you guys in the team group yet. Excuse me, but it's coming here real soon. How do you guys think? Do you guys see that as a good probability for the working man, for something where a guy can fish that maybe doesn't have all the vacation days, fish there locally, but still get a chance to go out and compete and measure himself on a national
Absolutely.
trail?
I think honestly, it's kind of harder sometimes that way, because you're going to be fishing against your local hammers, like bodies of water. So you're going to get the cream of the crop from each of the states, and then they're going to go to another neutral body of water that may not be within one of those areas that they fish, because there's still some voids in the last map that I've seen that can put everybody on a neutral body of water that it's going to pull the cream of the crop out of that crowd. But I really think it's for everybody, because you can fish at Weekend Warrior, 3-4 hours of travel in a state, fish a Saturday event, come home Sunday, unload, be ready for work on Monday. So I think a lot of local levels, you know your weather, you know your histories. They're relatively going to fish the same throughout the year, whether it's pre-spawn, spawn. So you know where you're at, because that's a big thing now. I think Florida is getting ready to spawn, and I'm just looking at ice. So
ice and snow.
Time frames don't correlate a lot of times when we're traveling, where these fish are mentally, let alone physically. If they're ready to spawn, or if they're post spawn, if they're traveling, so I think the local concept with a national ending is going to be exciting to watch.
And I think it'll give somebody, that confidence to maybe take that next step too, before they go out and spend the money that, that's on the BOS tour this year. Is they've upped their prices and different things. And maybe it gives that guy a little bit more confidence before he takes that plunge.
Absolutely.
The Florida fish are counting. Courting.
Courting.
No, courting. Miss Jean would know. Miss
Miss
Jean
Jean
would know.
would know.
We'll be seeing pictures very soon from Miss Jean. You can guarantee you that. With some of the new rule changes, how is that going to affect Matt as you drive around the country and go to practice for some of these terms? Do you feel like that's going to affect you any, or do you feel like it's going to be in the favor of a guy that's maybe traveling?
I'll be honest with you. I really don't care.
Good deal.
I mean,
I
don't care. I don't. I mean, I get. I guess I get tired of there's always reasons and excuses why some people are winning. Everybody thinks somebody's winning because of this, and somebody's winning because of this. And honestly, as long as everybody's following the same rules, I really don't care. I mean, if I had my choice, I think personally, I would like to not have posted designated launches, because I think that is one of the background. You've got to put your work in. That's sometimes that's where the hardest work comes in to finding a good area, is finding those places that. But I understand why they're eliminating some of that, because there's some gray area, and it's hard to police that. So I really, I guess, look at it this way. There's enough trails out there. There's enough. If you want to fish and drag your boat up a creek, which I love, that's my favorite. You can go fish those kind of events. If you want to fish and use your Torpedo and motor around, which I love to do that, there's events for that. I like a little bit of all of them, because if you really, I am slightly, I guess, addicted to the competition of seeing how I can figure out stuff as opposed to other people. Not that I guess that's what I like. So as long as everybody's on the same playing field and everybody's following the rules, I really don't care. I guess I don't know if that makes any sense. So
it makes absolute sense.
I am literally, I actually have pretty much, from the end of the season until now, I've pretty much did a cleansing of social media, paying attention during all that.
Good
because
for you, man.
I needed that. I needed to get my head out of that space for a while, and because I wasn't enjoying it because of all that, I'm just like, everybody's just arguing and griping, and I hated it. And but I understand a lot of the reasons why people are that way and why they have those. Everybody's passionate about it. I am too, but
yeah.
I look at it this way. You worrying about everything that's out there. I worry about enough of my life, and my hobby isn't something I really want to add that worry to. And I'm talking to myself there, because I do that. I will add worry to myself through my hobby of fishing, So I I got to step away from it sometimes, or else I won't be doing this anymore.
Dude, I agree with that 100%, because you know what? My rods have been sitting over there in their rod holder since November, and they haven't been touched since November. And, until it's time to go, gets close, I don't touch them. I went and took pictures for Orion the other day, and with the guys ice fishing, they're like, "You want fishing?" No, not really. I just, you need that time, I think, to decompress.
Well, it's anything in life that you're passionate about, you can start going overboard with it. I've done it before. You push yourself too hard, and then, you find you're not enjoying it. I don't want to do that with this, and I can see the signs of that happening in myself sometimes. And I gotta step back, and say, that's not what. I don't want to start preaching here, and I'm not going to, but that's not what defines me. And I think a lot of times we get into the idea that what we do in our hobbies and what we do in our free time and what we do in our worldly life is what defines us. And it's really easy to let that take over you and make you miserable. So,
yeah.
I think the burnout is real. With the rule changes, I kind of had to decompress from that also. I kind of stepped back, and I understand changes have to be made. I mean, everything that people do on a, we'll say, professional level, when we talk about this, whether it's sports, hunting, there's always different regulations or different rules or a change of the norm. It's good to see there isn't coming closer to a norm, but like me, I've fished kayak tournaments where I've been in my kayak for 5 minutes and got out and leashed my kayak to me and stood in the middle of the river or up a creek. If that's what I want to do, I just got to find that avenue that allows me to pursue what I want to pursue. And those may be the grassroots. Those may be some of the national ones. We're seeing a big drive in motorized kayaks. I've been with, using and been with Torpedo for years now. It's always been a tool. Now it's becoming a standard operating, you're seeing kayaks designed to fit a lot of this stuff, but those kayaks are also, used for normal everyday use. So for me, I find myself going back. I have a lot of support when I travel, but coming back home and just getting on the water at a local event, even if it's only for a couple hours, because I can go fish a local event and still be back here and leave the event early and come back and work the restaurant. So those are my decompression modes that I really don't have to worry about rules, because I'm not out there to win the tournament. I'm out there for the fellowship. I saw one of the comments you put up earlier. Like, I absolutely love being on the water with Phil. As much as he says I mentor them, they mentor me. I mean, I don't see, I see a drive in myself, and I can see the spiral out of the burnout, but watching, my local guys and the guys I fish with here, it's reviving, but it's reviving because I know that's the passion I had when I was fishing local, and I'm just fortunate enough to fish on the national trail side of things. But coming home, I say, whether it's in West Virginia, Ohio, I fished so many local trails, whether it was Kayak Fishing Ohio, whether it was MSKA. Pennsylvania has Kayak Anglers, which is spread out through Ohio. They're well over 300 members with 5 different chapters. I can fish every weekend in Pennsylvania within 5 hours of my house. Now I'm in a corner of Pennsylvania, so getting over to the other side of the state, but even within 3 hours, there's probably a tournament every day on a weekend that I can find. So that's the reset button for me, is fishing that local water. And it's not chasing a trophy fish or the bucket list fishery, but I consider some of the fisheries we have here bucket list. So,
now talking about getting back home, fishing local water, and I know this is important for both of you because I've seen the pictures. How much do you enjoy, and I know I enjoy it, just grabbing a couple rods sometimes, headed to the small water, and just dragging your boat around with family? Matt, I know you take your kids out a lot, and you guys will hit the creeks at Russell. You get into it too, and me and my wife will just go, and she'll find a shade tree and read, and I've got nothing but like 2 rods and a small tackle box. Those are some of the best times. Is that where something you guys really enjoy and can decompress that way and just love fishing?
Yep.
Well, today, Jackson, they shared, the trip to Panama and me catching the rooster. That is probably my personal favorite individual fish catch that I caught. But this year, as you talk about, I had the Jackson Take 2 with my daughter in it. And from cast to catch, she landed a citation size smallmouth for Pennsylvania. I netted it, but that's my favorite catch overall of the year, because it's the time I get to spend with my family. So not only do they support what I do, they're with me when I'm not on the national end or being super competitive. But it's even like I've taken an employee that we had just scared of the river. Hey, sit in this Liska, it's stable, kick back, relax, and float with the river. So it's introducing, I get to introduce people to it. And like my oldest daughter has a bug for it. Dad, we going fishing? Dad, can we go kayaking? To where, I have a local dealer that supports me on their kayak fishing team. Well, she became an honorary kayak fishing team member, jersey, kayak, and all, from those that support us locally because they saw her love for it. And when we go, it's not about the iPad or the phone, or it's not about school. It's just about time. I value time more than anything else in life. So, it's the time to be with somebody, the time to just sit back and relax, decompress. Those are the things that this sport or this hobby, this little bit of time has offered me to just spend time with, whether it be Matt, Jody, Queen, my wife, my daughters. They're there with me. Even my sponsors have spent hours on the water with me.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, you got to admit though, it's really cool that these boats can take us just from the national, like go fish a national tournament on Kentucky Lake, and then be in a creek that's probably no wider than 15 feet or less.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, it's awesome. It's just cool where these boats can go, and you don't have to do either or. I mean, you can literally find something in a kayak, I think, that you can just love.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's reading a book or
and that's something about
birds.
Jackson. Something about Jackson that I love is we've got a wide price range to get somebody into a quality, comfortable, stable, usable platform. I mean, the Bite is an incredible boat. The Stax is a great boat to, so we have such a wide portfolio of boats that we can put people in that, that's really something that for me, I've been a part of Jackson since I don't even remember at this point, but it's been a long time now. And it's, it's always been one of those deals where I've always feel like no matter who I come across out on the water, they may see me out there in my decked out NAR and they're like, dude, that's awesome. But I can literally point them to a boat that we have that will work for them and for their budget. And, and it's going to be a quality boat that they can use. So, that's not saying that there aren't other brands that have that too, but I'm representing a company that has that. And I know the people that are behind it, and I know that that's what their heart is. So I'm proud to be a part of that. And have been for a long time. So, that's one thing we have is, the grassroots. We got a lot of good boats for that type of stuff.
Well, yeah. And it doesn't just, like I said, it doesn't really stop with just like, okay, you guys have fishing boats. No, we have whitewater boats. And what a lot of people don't even probably realize is we have an entire selection of we have they're out there somewhere. They keep them at the factory on the dark side. You have to kind of walk around the left side, and then that's where they're at. But we have an entire recreational line that we really don't do a whole lot with as far as promotional stuff, because I mean it's just recreational, about the Rivy, the Journey. I mean, there's all kinds of recreational boats that we have that can meet a whole different set of needs. It's really pretty incredible. There's literally a boat for every seat.
There is. Everybody's butt will fit in one of them.
Yeah.
And it's funny as you talk about that, there's recreational boats that, as a family man, I purchased a Take Two. And I took the Take Two. My daughter's 8. I can throw her in the front and we can go paddle and have fun and enjoy the day. I know it's safe. It's a big, stable recreational platform.
Mm-hmm.
But the way Jackson designed it, it's
It's a
coming
fishing
up on
beast.
one of my favorite fishing rigs.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been a big rig guy, like the OG
Mhm.
big rig, because I feel that it will float on wet grass. And I'm a river fisherman, so shallow water draft is key to me. That Take Two is amazing
It
because
is.
I can put 2 seats in it, take my family, even both my kids are 45 pounds soaking wet, but I could put both of them in there. No, it's stable. They can jump off, they can swim. And then in the next week, I can put on my motor, put on my graphs, put in 2 J crates, limited rigging, and be out on a national trail with it. That's what I fished, the Bassmaster Kayak Classic with last year. So, the platforms, there's something for everybody.
Mhm.
And there's a budget for everybody too. When they see the Take Two completely rigged out, wow, that's expensive. No, here's the actual market price on it, and
Yeah.
you can put your trolling motor that's on your John boat right on here for you.
Yeah.
So I'm always amazed that we have so many options, and a lot of times that is budget driven because
Mm-hmm.
this sport is not, as we say, national trail. We're all still working men and
Mhm.
women.
Mm-hmm.
We're working class. There's very few people that have committed full-time responsibility to this. And the majority of us hold a job
Mhm.
somewhere. So, that budget-friendly kayak is, and we're not even as budget-friendly kayak. I think you're getting more bells and whistles
Mhm.
with them than you would think.
Yeah, I think the Take Two is an awesome platform. It's very it's one of those, it's a sleeper. I mean, I don't think a lot of people really realize what that boat is capable of. And like, Russell, how do you, when you compare it to the big rig, I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, you've got a really open concept, not as much internal, not as any internal storage really. So when you kind of compare and contrast those two, what's your pros and cons on them? What would you
So
tell somebody?
so for me, I find a lot of people that like on the river I grew up, that we grew up on, and I'm on a lot. There's a lot of canoers, so
Mhm.
it's that 2-person, 3-person setup, but everybody hates paddling a 17-foot canoe by themselves.
Right.
So, to take that and say, this is that setup for you, because you can take 2 or 3 people on this Take Two, adult and 2 kids. And then next week, when you're with the buddies, you can throw the Orion 45 in the front or in the rear, a tackle crate, and the boat still floats in 3 inches of water, or, very small draft. It becomes universal for the everyday needs,
Mhm.
instead of just locking in on a fishing platform because they see my NAR and see me pedaling upstream in the river or something along that lines. It's something that's achievable for the everyday person.
Yep.
I think the internal storage for my overnight camping, I just have to pack different, but
Mhm.
the external open floor plan allows me to put the biggest of storage crates for anything that I may need for 2 or 3 days overnight on the
Mhm.
river. And that's from food, stoves, tents, camping gear. It's there.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely the sleeper boat on the Jackson fleet right now.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it for camping because when we go camping as a family, I've got a truck with a topper, and I'm towing a camper. I'm taking usually 6 people. What's nice is I can throw that boat on my top of my truck, and that takes care of 2 people that want to go out.
Yep.
And then I can. I've got another kayak. I've got an inflatable from NRS that I throw in the kayak canoe or the camper all the time, that is in there. And if I want to, if we need room, but then I can throw one of my other Jacksons usually if I'm camping, I'm taking that Liska. I think once I get it set up, it's going to be that Coosa X is going to be the boat that's going to be riding up there with that Take 2. But you can haul. For me, it gives me that opportunity to take more people out, and it'll handle 2 big people. It's not a boat that you have to just say, well, I can take my daughter. Me and any of you 2 can get in it and then have a good day out on the water. So, and Russell and I both are probably some of the worst that you'll ever see as far as taking too much crap when we go fishing. And I really don't apologize for it. I enjoy all that stuff with me just because I like to have it with me, but I got that ability in that boat. It'll haul it, it's just your choice. So
now,
my kids love it when they get their friends, they grab that Take 2 and take off, 2 paddles, 2 life jackets, and they're having fun. They're swimming off of it. They have fun in it.
Now, here's the real question, because you've both said it, and I still have 2 in storage here at the house. The Liska. I'm going to get like a Liska bell for Dock Talk, because every episode the Liska comes up, and every time somebody says Liska, I'm going to ring that bell. Do you feel like when you look at the Coosa X, like I've looked at the Coosa X, do you feel like, that could fade the love for the Liska? It's a hard question, because it looks good. I mean, topo views, it's just like,
I guess when you get to side by side, there's so many similarities that it's scary, because I have a love for my Liska. Like,
it's deep.
Me too.
It's deep.
It's deep.
Probably my favorite Jackson boat ever.
Yeah.
I can't say that. And my favorite Jackson boat ever would be the Kilroy DT. And that's really odd for a lot of people, but I'm a paddler by heart, and that boat flies. I can get it places where I can't get other boats upstream going through skinny water. That's probably my all-time favorite. But the Liska, the fact that I use a motor 99% of the times, I use internal storage 99% of the times. I'm looking for a very simple. If you see me on a river, I'm in more trees than I am in the middle of the river. I'm getting in nasty stuff. And the Liska allowed me to have that very basic 2 rods on the deck, 4 rods in the boat, everything low, compact, right behind the seat, nothing real crazy. And it's a low profile.
That low profile is what I think made it such a killer boat.
Yeah. I think the Liska would have been a little bit more popular, but we had very, very popular boats when the Liska was brought out. So I don't think the Liska got the love that it truly deserves, because we had some other popular boats come out. Now the Coosa X, it has all the things that I need out of my Liska, with some new engineering that I want to put it in some places where I'm going to get in trouble, because there was a few places that I feel like I couldn't put my Liska because I knew it was going to get me in trouble because of that lower profile.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think it's going to replace it.
I know where you're talking about.
Yes. I do stupid stuff. And it's not stupid. It's just what I'm comfortable with. I'm a river rat. Born a river rat, and I will be a river rat for the rest of my life.
Me too.
And those situations are when you get comfortable in a boat. I was never comfortable in a mayfly for a river, but I know guys that love the mayfly for the river. But the Liska was special, and I think this Coosa X is, the way the hull's designed, is going to give me a few things. Knowing Jameson isn't too much smaller than me, and watching that bow rise come through some of this white water,
shoot out of the water is the best way to describe it.
That ensures me that, Jameson's 220, I'm 270. that 50 pounds isn't going to matter.
Not
50
on that
pounds
boat.
50 pounds in a Liska mattered a little bit. So I'm excited to get it.
The Liska almost had like a hybrid paddleboard feel to it a little bit for people that haven't been on it. I mean, it wasn't a paddleboard, but it was like riding this line somewhere between paddleboard and kayak, I think is the best way to describe that profile. Because you always felt like you were on top of it really well.
Yeah.
I think the other thing with the Liska I liked was where the floor, it wasn't a wet rod, but when I stood, I felt like my feet were at water level. So it was a very, very great standing platform. And it was because it's a short stature boat, like it's shallow. It was a little bit harder to get up, but with the Jackson, standing assist strap, I could pop up and I'd have to use a strap to sit back down because 270 coming down is a little bit much. But that's what's intriguing me about the Kusa is it has a raised floor, but it still seems like it's on the water level where the seat's a little bit higher with our new seat setup. I think it's going to allow me to do everything I need to do on a river.
I'm excited about that tank well in the back.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Yeah, and it really mirrors the gargantuan Liska tank well, which is something we all ended up loving about that boat, boat.
I think in the planning process, that was the big thing.
We fought for that.
Yeah, we fought for that one. Because there's a lot of use back there that a geometrical shape would have lost. And for that being said, when you come through some of those rapids, that slanted angle also throws that water straight out the back if it shoots through your boat, because it has that nice little rise. Because I've been in places where white water has hit me in my chest. And I think this boat is going to rise and not go through it, but be on top of it. I'm liking what I see. Chris Funk's videos have just been like, watch over and over and over again. They're all right on spot. So I think it's going to be that great turn to take a little bit of my heart at the Liska, though.
Yep.
Now let's just hypothetically say, if there was ever to be another Liska, I think if my input was cherished, it would be the same boat as the Kusa X, but the bow would be different. It wouldn't have the same bow. It would go back to maybe a more pointed bow like the Liska had. Could you take the profile down just a little bit, to get that, knock off maybe some of that wind shear for flat water, when the wind blows? Yeah, but layout wise, when you look at the plan view of the boats, I feel like it'd be the same. I don't think I would want to change very much.
Yeah.
The nose of the boat.
Yeah. No, you go ahead.
The nose of the boat plays a lot in those situations. There's no way to combat wind when we're in a 100-pound boat and the wind's blowing 20 mile an hour. You're going to fight it. But the paddling concept of when you look at the history of Jackson, of what they know about the hulls, and when they say, okay, we're going to plan a riverboat, then you start looking at some of their whitewater stuff and they're like, oh, well, this doesn't look far from this. And somebody just ran a 4-minute green mile in a boat that was similar to this for speed. And they stayed dry. Well, this is why they did it. So we're fortunate enough to have a very, very strong backbone in whitewater because it pushes those river boats to understand the current. Understand eddies and what the wrong geometry of the boat will do. There's some boats out there, you go into an eddy and it gets scary.
Sketchy.
Yes. That's if my buddy Bill is watching, we ran McKee's Half Falls, which is on the Susquehanna River, at a level that we knew we shouldn't have been running. And I saw the whole bottom of his mayfly, but he remained in the seat. those are the things that I don't think other boats would have taken very well. I can't name too many other brand boats that, as I'm watching water go in one side of his boat and come out the other, and then see every scupper on the bottom of the Mayfly, every scupper on the bottom of the Mayfly while I'm next to him, and him come out of it. Those are testaments to what they're building these boats for.
Yeah, you've seen every scupper on the bottom of my big rig FD too, though. But that was in a different situation.
Is that when you were Supermaning back and?
Yeah. We won't talk about that one. I will never forget that one either. So
no, never in a million years.
No, I think.
Hey, one thing I want to say.
Okay, go ahead.
Real quick, we're talking about our love for different Jackson boats, and this is awesome. But I have a renewed love after we got the new Flex Drive. When I put that Flex Drive in my Bite FD. I have a whole new appreciation for that boat. Made it one of it. Now, if I'm fishing an event where I have to use my pedals and it's in moving water, that boat's going. That boat is awesome.
It crawls upstream.
Yes, it's crazy. It's just that drive is awesome. I love our drive now.
Yeah, the new drive, especially river fishing, being able to run shallow, deep. It's instantaneous response, whether it's forward or reverse, whether you're going down and you come across a sandbar, it pops up out of the way. I mean, there's rivers out there that you might be in a sandbar 1 minute and then come up on some eelgrass. I don't have to worry about too many things. I reach down, clear my prop, float through the eelgrass, put it back down, and go about my way. But putting it on that Bite, that made that thing a little rock.
Yeah,
it definitely woke that boat up.
Now, I think, talking about the new drive, it takes me back to, the first time I sat in the NAR with the new drive, with nothing else in the NAR but my own body. And I took the first few pedals and literally felt the bow just lift. And you could tell that drive had so much more torque and was so much faster. And you were looking at a completely different animal. I mean, just right out of the gate. Did you guys have an experience like that as well?
Yeah, we were together.
We were together. And being together, like both of us just looked at each other and was like, whoa. Like he went off. Yeah, this is exactly what we wanted. And I'm talking the first time, very limited gear in the boat, an unknown body of water. Conditions weren't great.
Horrible conditions.
Yeah, it's but when you get in it and took the first couple pedals, it was like I looked at him and he looked at me and we just smiled and we knew that was it.
It was instant, man.
Yeah.
And that's what he went doing donuts to the left. I went doing donuts to the right and playing with the steering. And like it all came together because me and Matt during those 6, 7, 8, 13-hour drives, we'll sit there and talk about, man, I really wish.
I wish we had
this.
Yeah.
And that wish list was crossed off in these boats that we have now. Yeah. Like the Coosa X, the wish list of the things that we wanted out of a riverboat, it's on that boat. What we wanted out of the NAR, what we wanted out of the pedal drive, it's right there. So I think it's a good response of the team that we have at Jackson. And that team is compiled of every different style angler, from fly fishermen to saltwater fishermen to big body water to creek fishermen. But the backbone of it is the performance of the boat. So they're learning how to put the performance on the bottom and what we want on the top, and it's molding something amazing.
Yeah. And I think you're starting to, when you go back and you look at the group pages, you're starting to see it. People are chiming in and they're going, I didn't know this drive is amazing. you guys have knocked this one out of the park. Seeing a lot of posts about the NAR here lately. It's just like this boat's amazing. You're seeing a lot of people there at the end of the year. We ran the 25% off sales, and a lot of people picked it up, and they're just like, oh my gosh, this boat's awesome. And then the Coosa X here, as spring comes into the fold, people are going to be talking. I mean, those river guys, they're going to give it a chance. They're going to get in it, take it for a spin, and it's going to create its next version of the Coosa legacy.
Yep.
That's exactly what it's going to create. But it's funny, you have the standard drives, the workhorses that we weren't in the runnings with. Mm-hmm. And, I fished a national event, and we were in some backwater for a launch, and, just seeing that we're improving, because 2 years before that with the original flex drive, I wouldn't lean on my boat too much. Mm-hmm. And they took in consideration we needed some changes. And when those changes come, I'm not the last one out to shoot no more. I'm leading. Oh, yeah. It's fast. It's comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything that I need.
Yeah. And I think if you really just even halfway and around, if you're just out playing around, fishing with some buddies on the local lake, I mean, and you're kind of pedaling or paddling out together, it's like you have to kind of check yourself a little bit with the NAR, and like you'll wind your buddy pretty quick if you're pedaling the NAR side by side with a different boat.
Yep.
It's I'm definitely one of the ones that, and this, I mean, as we're on a live video, I have multiple Jackson boats. If you're in my area, come try one.
Same here.
That goes for the gentleman on the bottom, and same with Chad. If you got questions, reach out and ask us. It doesn't have to be because we know you. I'll just give you my honest opinion. If you're looking for a NAR for a creek boat, I'm going to tell you you're wrong. Mm-hmm. And if you're looking for a certain budget, I can help you with that too. But we also know, can find local dealers, the website.
Dominic, so to answer your question, Jody McGregor has a NAR in California. I don't know exactly which part of California she's in, but she is probably your go-to pick on that, or Jim Salmon's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But try these boats out. They are investments. They're just not small purchases. They're investments. Get in time. Take mine out without anything on it. Take mine out fully rigged. That's why we do this, because if it wasn't for somebody allowing me to try theirs, I wouldn't have the love for that. I might have bought a big box store kayak and been completely uncomfortable with a sore back and never step foot in this boat again. But try a couple of them out. Just don't lock in the one. I say that all the time. Try as many as you can. But if you see me on the side of a bank somewhere and we're not in the middle of a tournament, take my boat and give it a try, because I'm going to try yours also. But I think that goes for almost everybody that I fish with.
Any of us that you see, and especially us factory team guys, if you ever are in our area and want to try out a boat, most of us have plenty to let you try. We would be glad to
got
let you try.
Whole garage I loan out anytime, anybody.
We save them.
The only time
we
I
just
don't
store them.
I am picky with my tournament rig because I'm usually traveling with it. But other than that, you can use it, but I usually won't let you take
it. If you guys are in our area too, and you never been in a kayak, and you want to try it out, a lot of us fish local tournaments, have multiple boats. We all have kind of the same rules, and there are rules in a kayak thing. If you're going to be in a boat, you're going to have a life jacket on. We're gonna talk about the safety aspect of it. Not that we blow over it, but a lot of us are very, very passionate about safety. I'm one of the guys that I will fish year round up here if the water's open. But if you want to fish a tournament locally, you can come grab one of my boats. I'll give one to you. Just bring it back. But try it out and enjoy yourself.
Question from the crowd, Dominic Joanne, PA 14 with the 1103 or 1103 versus the NAR with the 1103. What do you guys think?
They're very
speed-wise.
similar speed-wise. I fish a lot with I fish with a lot of my people I fish with in these tournaments are using an 1103 with a Torpedo or with the Hobie 360 PA14. They're neck and neck as far as with the Torpedo. Both are, I'd say honestly, the NAR is even easier to rig than any boat I've ever rigged with a motor. So,
and then pedal to pedal, I would say drive to drive, the NAR is a little
slightly faster.
Yeah, just a tad. So I'm going to look at it from a different aspect. So the PA14 plain Jane and the NAR plain Jane, a lot of very similar features, a lot of features that may be water dependent of what you're fishing. But when you come up to the riggability of it, there's more products out there that I can rig on my NAR than I can on a PA14. And I'm speaking from experience because I ran a PA14 for a while just to make sure that I can compare the two, because that is a very common question. And I prefer my NAR over my PA14. And simply because where we fish a lot of weeds, I just feel that it handles in situations better for me. And I feel more stable in it. And when I say that, I'm out on Lake Erie in 5 and 6 foot waves. So it's my big water boat. But as far as once you get them rigged, they're neck and neck speed wise. Minor things are going to be, if you watch any of Jeff Little's videos, changing where you put your weight and stuff like that, that can all get you tenths of miles an hour. But is it all day comfort that you're looking for sitting up on the front of the bow of your boat? I would say if you're looking for speed with the 1103, the Take 2. It does get 7 miles an hour.
Well, and talking about weighing out your stuff, that was an exercise that I went through last year with my NAR and some different things. I really looked at everything I had, and I think if you want to maximize your performance in any of these kayaks, you could think about doing this. I think it's a great exercise personally. Having done it, go through and weigh everything in your crate, every rod, every reel, every battery that you have. Weigh it. Weigh your gear just tenfold. You will be surprised what you will start to cut. You will be surprised about what you keep. And I guarantee you, no matter what kayak you are in, what brand, it doesn't matter. If you start moving weight around and distributing it and cutting the fat from it, you will be impressed. Don't matter what brand of boat you're in. If you get into the nuts and bolts and balance the thing, you will be impressed. And Matt, you're the perfect example because you spend a lot of time on your boats getting them right. Just like you said, you were keeping your NAR. You spent a lot of time on that NAR to make sure every aspect of that NAR was where you wanted it.
Yep.
So that is one thing I think we would all encourage you guys to do is really take some time in your setup and weigh it out.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta realize these boats aren't tailor built for you, but you can tailor build them for you. Every one of these kayaks can be for you. You just have to tailor it around that. So, making sure the boat is customizable, making sure it fits your weight limits, making sure that it's not too heavy, not too light, that it fits your needs. That may take you from a NAR to another boat because it didn't fit your needs, because you can't lift the weight of the NAR consecutively day after day because you have back problems. But we have other stable, when you're looking at it for stability, but we have other stable boats in the stable here at Jackson that will fit those needs that are customizable to your needs. So nobody's going to buy a boat and not do something to it. And when I say something, it's not just a sticker from Orion or a sticker from Z-Man, a sticker from Torquedo. It's the alteration of putting a power pole or something like that on there. So when you make those choices, you got to look at all that stuff. You know, I have the money to buy the Bite right now, but in 6 months, when I want to put a power pole on it because I know I can budget this, does it allow me to do that? And the answer is yes. So I always look at that, you know, anchors, like, can I run an anchor off the front? Can I run it off the rear? Because as the last few boats that came out from Jackson are collective efforts from a team. Each one of those team members put information in that might not be perfect for you. That's something you thought of, but I think we left enough riggability in there to get everybody's needs.
Now, as we're kind of winding this thing down, I know you guys both have got some stuff that you do on the side, and I'll let you guys talk about some of the foundational. I guess we could call it foundational work or building within the community that you'll be doing out on the trail this year. And I'll kind of let Matt start with your mission that you take out on the road with you. Kind of tell people about that and what some of the things you'll be doing.
So myself and a good friend of mine, Cody Prather, we kind of started really doing these fellowship meetings on all the trails that we're at. I'm going to continue that as long as I possibly can. It's something I really am led to do. Basically, at any of the events that I'm at, and any of the events that I can get somebody that even if I'm not there, I'm going to try to get it organized to where somebody could do it. Just have a fellowship meeting where we do a little Bible study and just talk about life and just talk. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't. It's not deep. It's not. It can be as deep as you want to take it, but it's just something I feel like the Lord has put me in this spot, and I feel led to keep that going. And I've gotten a lot of support from everybody out there that's encouraged me to keep doing that. And it's the Lord's really working through that, not through me, but through me, but not, it's not because of me, but, so I'm going to continue that as long as I can. And, basically, this year I have plans to, really do a little bit of traveling to different shops, and, do some seminar type things. Once the weather clears and I can get the kayak out, maybe, I'll be working with Jameson and Dustin on planning some things with some of these fun stops and that kind of thing to just get out and talk about kayak fishing and tournament fishing and just all of the love that we got for these boats. So that's what is in store for this year. But, I've got a lot of great sponsors with Jackson being up one of them. And, they enable me to do this, and I really appreciate the support that they've given me over the years, and I'm proud to be a part of it, and proud to be able to put my input in some of these products with some of my fellow anglers. So I'm really excited about that.
All right, Russell.
Well, so we opened up the restaurant. We have 3 tournament trails here, and there are going to be stops here at the restaurant where it's going to be just like that. Bring people in, make sure we got a nice safe spot for the weigh-ins, stuff like that. We're going to support as much as we can, and try to be one of those non-fishing sponsors. We give away a few free meals, and just support the trails that are around us. I'm going to continue to work with, some different dealers. We're going to try to set up some seminars. It's boat show season, so I know I have one coming up with the River's Edge Canoe and Kayak here right outside of Pittsburgh. I want to be available for, to talk about the new model kayaks as we bring them in. I'm also going to look at, reaching out with Jameson and them doing some fun stop stuff. But what I want to do is I just want to pop up at some of these unfamiliar places to me, and do some fishing. So when they're doing fun stops down in the Gulf, I want to go catch a redfish. Never caught a red. Never caught a trout. Saltwater trout. So for me, it's going to be just to go and meet and let people know that You don't have to have a 1-ton truck, a trailer, and everything else like this. We can put it on the top. I drive a minivan, throw it on the top of a minivan, and go on and explore. So my thing this year is just to let people know you can do it, let people know how to do it, and be there for whatever reasons that they may have questions about it. But I'm going to use my sponsors, whether it's Fishing Online, Torquedo, to use it as leverage to talk about it, and just be available as much as I can for anybody out there.
Good stuff, guys. Now, fishing tournament season, obviously, for kayak fishing is going to be starting on Saturday. So with that being said, I'm going to do something that we've never done. It's going to be a different closeout. Matt, I want you to before every tournament, you thank the Lord and pray for everybody's safety. So tournament season starting this Saturday. Do it for the year, man.
I'd love to.
I'm going to let you close this thing out.
I appreciate it. Dear Heavenly Father, I just come to you today, and I just ask that you would look over this coming season. I ask that you would just watch over every tournament on the trails, Lord, the local trails, the national trails, all the tournament directors, Lord. I just thank you for the opportunity that you've given us to enjoy your creation, Lord. And I just pray, Lord, that you would watch over the anglers to and from the tournaments and everywhere they go, Lord. We just thank you for your creation. We thank for the beauty that you give us, Lord. And just help us to take time to stop and just realize the beauty that you give us in each and everything we do. Lord, I just thank you for the family and that we've gained through this sport. And I just ask, Lord, that you would help us to be a light to others and just show them, Lord, your love through the sport of kayak fishing. In your name I pray. Amen.
All right. We'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.